God has returned to the market of life. Because from here he heard cries. Shouts for justice, which echoed to his throne. Who are those he is looking for? They are souls that scream, but no one hears. The fruits were trampled, forgotten, and wronged. Who defended them? Who cared for them? Who paid attention to their constant moans? There was only one, the God who walks among the remains of the end of the market. With eyes of justice, he stretches out his hand to fetch what the world has despised. It was he who taught us the duty always to pray and never lose heart. He spoke about a certain widow. She did not have any means. She did not have a name, but had a cause, and had faith to preserve, faith to return every day to adore. The only one she could knock. Yes, for a time, she did not have an answer, but her voice was heard, and her cause was judged. And it was voices like these that God heard here, and that reached this door, the altar. Once again, the time has come to showcase new fruits. The most improbable stories have been gathered by God at the end of the market and placed here. He is the God of the unseen. Of those who cry out day and night. The fair judge who descends from his throne. And he comes to bring justice.
Starting now, from the altar of the UCKG Macau throughout the world, the prayer of the jury of faith towards the holy campaign of justice.
Hello, everyone. May God bless you all greatly and abundantly in Jesus' name. Here we are today, giving start to our journey of faith. And this journey of faith that we start, it is going to be very special because we're going to talk about an important topic that is God's justice. Because what is God's justice? God's justice, it is what we go towards to in the moment that the justice of men has failed, which means you have tried by all means to solve a problem or a situation that you're facing through, but nothing that you have tried has succeeded. On the contrary, you have failed in many attempts to try to bring this problem to a solution. So when that happens, it is the time for us to turn ourselves to God, because God, He does not fail. On the contrary, God, it is always there to give to us the solution, the exact solution to what we need. But Pastor Ronin, unfortunately, when we talk about God's justice, many people rely much more in the justice of this world that is always late and can always fail instead of trusting the justice of God.
Yeah, and we can see that the justice of God, it is available. Sometimes people, they may even think that it is not available for them. And that's not true. It is available and never fails and neither delays. The person only need to do what is supposed to be done in order to see God's justice being coming true in her life.
Because God, He is extraordinary. He is willing to transform your life, He is willing to help you, He's willing to bring a solution to this problem that you're facing, that you're struggling with. And it is important to mention that we are not talking about something that started yesterday. We're talking about a problem that has been within your life for a long time. And no matter what you do, as we said, there's no solution. There's lots of failed attempts. But listen carefully. Through the power of God, through Him, He can bring a solution by faith for what you're going through. But it depends on you because we need to make a choice. We cannot seek the help from this world and at the same time seek the help from God because we either take our case to the courts of this room or to the courts of God. You need to decide. But keep in mind that the court of God it is the one that will bring to you the solution that you need. And today we have, Pastor Ron, an important testimony to start this journey of faith because this testimony, I believe that it will shock many. It is a powerful story that a person believed totally. She surrendered herself totally into the hands of the righteous judge that is God.
And through this testimony, you will for sure have the idea that God, the same God that made justice in her life, it is also the one that will make justice in your life. But in order for that to happen, you must be willing to do what this person in this testimony she has done.
Exactly. Because God is here for people like her, people like you, my friend, that is suffering right now, that is battling. As a matter of fact, if you care, if you can, share this link to anyone that you know that in this moment is facing a problem. It doesn't matter their religion. Every time we start the journey of faith, we need to reassure you this. It doesn't matter your religion. We're not here to talk about religion. We are here to talk about a mighty God, a righteous God that can bring justice into your life through his power. That is what we are here to present to you. So send this link, tell them the importance of them watching this testimony and the message that will be shared. But before we go to the testimony, I'm going to put here on screen for you guys the Bible verse that will open this journey of faith. It says here on Genesis chapter 18, verse 25, shall not the judge of all the earth do right? But repeat, shall not the judge of all the earth do right? Think about it. The Almighty God, the creator of it all, will he be able to fail? I assure you, God does not fail. If you believe in him and trust in him, you're going to see the answer that you need. So let us watch this testimony, and after we will come back.
My dream was to have a family. And when my son was born, I imagined that this dream would come true. But when he was 4 months old, the pediatrician told me, "Mom, your son's head has a very large circumference, way beyond the curve for his age. Your son has a problem called hydrocephalus. I'm going to ask you to take him to a neurosurgeon." In addition to this problem with his large head, he had very strong reflux. We went out with bags, lots of bags, because he had to change his clothes all the time. You know? Because with each feeding, the milk was a special milk, and with each feeding, the jets went very far. And it was something. Every time we went back, with each medication that increased, the reflux got worse. So, we went to the neurosurgeon, the first one, and he said, "Mom, we're going to put a valve in your son's head because his head is growing, because there's water inside his head." And then we went to another doctor, who was a very respected doctor, and she told me the same thing. "Your son needs surgery," she said. "So let's do the preoperative exams." I said, "No, I'm still going to think about it. I'm going to see what I'm going to do." Then she looked me in the eye and said, "I don't think you understand. Find out what a head of water is. This is the disease your son has. If it were my son, I would have operated on him yesterday. I wouldn't accept it, because we already knew God. We already had faith. We had already learned to dare to have faith. We already knew God." And I had a dream of having a family. And everyone thinks that their child will start to grow, will start to crawl, will sit up, will walk, will run, will play. And I didn't know if my son would be able to do that. And I just looked at my son and saw a child with a big head. A child who is not pretty. Because aesthetically, it is not pretty. He had a lump. There was a time when it was on the right side. There was a time when it was on the left side. And then, with each passing day, I kept going with him to appointments. I kept checking on his progress, but I kept going. I kept fighting. I kept going to the altar. I kept crying out. I kept asking God for justice. But then I went back to the appointment, and things seemed to get worse, because there was hope that the next person would say it wasn't necessary. 3 people had already said that he would have to have surgery, that he would have motor problems, that he would have cognitive problems, that he would be a child who would have problems at school, and that we had to understand that it would be different, that we would have to adapt to a different routine. And when I saw my son in this situation, I asked God. I said, "Lord, why is this happening to me?"
The doctors kept pushing him from one doctor to another, right? Go to the doctor who will solve everything. No one wanted to take on this case. That's the reality. When we arrived at the hospital for João Vito's appointment, we saw the father holding the child's body and the mother holding the child's head. That's when I found myself in that situation. You know, my wife and I were there talking, and we were asking each other, will this happen to João Vito in the future? At that time, I was unemployed. I had a car and a mortgage on my house. And we lost the bailiff. They came to take both our house and our car, too. And the car we used to take João Vito to the hospital.
Look, it's a revolt. It's a revolt because I say, "Lord, it's not fair. A child with a head this size. He was going to have surgery. They were going to put in a valve. They were going to drain it. But at 7 years old, that valve was going to have to be replaced. So this surgery was not going to solve my son's problem. and time passed little by little and difficulties began to appear. He could not sit, he could not crawl, and the tomography did not show his brain. I obeyed what the doctor was telling me to do. It was all black, because it was all water. But inside I went back to crying out to God. I said, Lord, how long am I going to stay here? How long am I going to go through this situation? How long am I going to stay here with my son all day? Because we would wait until the end of the day for the medical board. Because it wasn't just going there and having a consultation. He had to go through the medical board to be able to say whether he would have surgery or not. It was always the same story. Surgery. No surgery. When we were tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, I went to seek justice from someone who could judge my case. And I said, Lord, it's not fair that we lose days of work, days off, whatever it may be, inside a hospital all day long, to leave there with the same answer I left yesterday, that I left the day before yesterday and there's no change. I placed myself before God. I opened the Word and God showed me the following: that He is faithful and that He fulfills what He promises. He promised. He said that He would take our pains and our illnesses. It was this word that I learned. It was this word that was revealed to me. So, if He promised and He is faithful, He had to fulfill it. And then, the campaign of Israel came, and it was not the first. And I was sure that God would change. I didn't know what He was going to do. I just knew God was going to do it. I didn't know what, but I knew He was going to do it. We put all our strength into it. Our cause was going to be judged. God was going to give the final sentence. Once again, I was certain that He would fulfill His promises. I went up to the altar and gave my baby to God. I said, Lord, it is whatever You determine.
Were you willing to be there until suddenly you lost your son?
Yes, I came from the source. I am not here waiting for a palliative, a medicine. I'm going straight to the one who can help me. I know it's only You.
Mrs. Fernanda, but the question that won't go away, and your baby,
My baby is here.
is it here?
Yes.
So, bring her baby here, please.
You see, my friend, how hard her situation was, how many doors she knocked, how many times she tried, but it seemed as if no one could bring to her the answer. And that's exactly what we are here to mention, because we are not here to speak to those that say, no, I can do it on my own. I can manage on my own. No, we are here to talk to those that are bad and that are suffering. People that have been rejected, people that have been knocking doors to try to bring a solution to their family problem, their health problem, their spiritual problems. It doesn't matter the problem. What matters right now is that you cannot continue to suffer anymore. And God, He holds the answer to all of this that you're facing. But it comes a time that you need to turn yourself to the Lord and allow Him to be the one to judge your cause, to bring to Him. And as a matter of fact, there's something that we need to talk about, Pastor, that is important. Many people say, but where is God in my life? We talk about the justice of God, but where's God? But let's think a little bit, Pastor. Let's rationalize here together. If they don't bring their case to God, how can God be able to judge their cause? If she doesn't answer the court, if she doesn't file those cases, how can He be able to do something in her life? Because God can only bring a result, a action, or a reaction to what she's going through if she makes the decision of coming to Him first. She needs to make this choice.
Yes, sometimes people they make this, this question where God have been in their life, and the answer is God has been, in this place where He always has been. But for Him to bring justice to your life, you gotta do what she did. She came to the courtroom of God, and there she found justice. If you have a court case, here, humanly speaking, you not deal with this court case anywhere else. You're gonna bring the court case to the tribunal, to the court, to be judged by the judge. So the same way it's talking about your life, your situation. If you want to see God's justice in your life, you must to come to the tribunal of God where you will find His justice in your life. If you do not take action to come to Him, to bring your situation to Him, even though God is the righteous judge, still He will not bring justice into her life.
Exactly, because she needs to become closer to Him, to come to Him and speak to Him. And keep in mind, to come closer to Him, it doesn't mean that we are here telling you need to come here to the church, and we are using this as an invitation for her to be here closer to the church. No, it has nothing to do with that. It is the importance of you coming to the altar of God. There is no secondary intentions. We are here. Open your mind so that you can understand what God is able to do. And it's interesting in her testimony is that she knew exactly that she needed to rely on God because she already knew the way of faith. She already knew that the altar was the place of solution. So even though she heard lots of negative words, lots of things that obviously were not by any means helping her in her situation, she decided to ignore these words because she knew that God would bring the solution to what she is going through. Now, keep in mind, when we talk about the case of her son, and a very difficult case, by the way, clinically speaking, we need to always explain that it is not that the doctors did not want to help. It's because they reached their limits. What you need to understand is that all human beings, they have limits. Of course, that the doctors didn't want to see that child in that situation. But the thing is, what could they, humanly speaking, what could they do? There was nothing that they could do. The medicine at that moment, at that point for her, it had reached its limit. So that's why she needed a divine intervention to seek a higher power. That was the power of God. Because when the doctors spoke to her, they gave to her a temporary fix, a temporary solution. But she didn't want something temporary to continually go there and do treatments and more treatments. She wanted a true solution, not something temporary. And I believe that you that is watching us right now, you have this same thought regarding your life. Because personally speaking, Pastor, I wouldn't like for me to have a temporary solution to a problem. I want something that will bring my suffering to an end. And that's what she wanted. She didn't want that problem to linger within her life. She wanted a solution. And that's where God comes in. Because He says here in the book of Psalm, chapter 89, verse 19, sorry, verse 14, righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne. Mercy and truth go before your face. So here it says, that the justice and the righteousness are the foundation of the throne of God, and mercy and truth go before your face. So God is the only one that can bring this answer to her.
Yeah. God is the only one that can bring this answer. And you are the only one that can decide to bring your cause, your case to him, because God is willing to change the situation by giving the final sentence, by placing an end in this problem that you are going through. But if you do not take action to, to leave your comfort zone and bring your cause, your case to the judge to be judged by him, even though he can judge and help you by giving you the final sentence, it's still, if you do not take action, God will not be able to bring justice into your life.
Exactly. So this is the opportunity that you have. Of course, that we're going to give continuity to her testimony, but not today.
Yeah.
It's going to be tomorrow on the continuity of the journey of faith. But I want you to analyze yourself. I want you to look yourself deep within and ask yourself, are you willing to take a step forward to be able to truly change your life? Are you satisfied with the way that your situation is? Because some people, they learn to live with the problem. I remember some cases that people call the problem, right?
Yeah.
My sickness, my illness, and so on. Don't take possession of that problem. Allow the mighty hand of God and his justice to be done within your life. Because God, he is the righteous judge. He is the only one that can determine that your life will have the turnover that it needs. But it requires you to have this faith in him, to believe in his word, to believe in what he has to share to you. Because as she said, everything that the doctor said to her, she was doing. But her faith and trust was in God. And that's where our aim needs to be. So I want to do, Pastor Roni, this prayer for all of those that right now are like her, facing a problem, perhaps similar or even worse. Perhaps you're watching us right now and you are thinking about even ending your own life because many viewers have been suffering. We're not speaking here to one or two people only, no. Wherever this video is reaching, wherever this stream is reaching, there is someone behind these lenses that have been carrying a problem. And you have been suffering, you have been crying every single day. The thing is, have been crying day and night, endless nights with without sleep and crying. And why do I say endless? Because it seems that everything that you try, nothing solves itself. It seems that the days become longer. The suffering, it extends itself. But God, he can turn that situation. He can bring justice into your life. That is what we here today are proposing to you. But you need to be willing to listen to the orientation that he has to give because he's the one that carries the knowledge, the understanding of what needs to be done for your life to be changed. So that's the prayer that we're going to do. Pastor Ronnie will start the prayer. And once he starts, I will give continuity. And you're going to join us in this prayer. If you want, in the comment section below, you can leave the names of the people so that we can pray in their behalf. And Pastor, we can include their names also in the prayer. And by faith, God will visit them. No matter where they are, the mighty hand of God will extend itself into your life by faith and into the life of all of those that you're going to be placing their names in the comment section. Okay? So I invite you to stand up in this moment with us and to close your eyes and to elevate your thoughts to God and join us in this prayer. Pastor Ronnie, please.
My God and my Father, here united we are in your presence, my Lord. And together, for sure, there are many people watching us right now, connected with us. And among those people, Lord, there are those that has a question mark within them, where God have been, why I have been suffering a lot throughout my whole life, why no one has been capable to help me, why I have come into this life. There are those, my Lord, that perhaps are even thinking about to commit suicide because they are in despair, they are in anguish, they are in bitterness of souls because of many injustices that they have been facing throughout their life. Injustice in the marriage, in the health, in all the areas of their life, perhaps in the health of a daughter, of a son, or maybe even her own, Lord. But Father, here we are. And we believe, Lord, that this person has not been connected with us by chance, but on the contrary, Lord, this moment right now, it was, my Father, you the one that made a way, make a way for her to be connected here with us, because you want to show to her, you want to show to this person, my Lord, that as long as she is willing to take action, your justice will come to play in her life. We include, Lord, those who are connected, those who have placed their name here in the comment section, Lord. Father, bless and let them understand, Lord, that the justice of the Lord, it is available for those who take action in order to seek this justice.
Lord, because wherever there is someone watching us right now, we know that there are people that are suffering. And we cannot reach them, but you can. So hear us, my Lord, in this prayer of agreement from our UCKG Macau, Lord, throughout the entire world. Wherever there is someone that is suffering right now, a person that has tried many things, that has been knocking many doors, but hasn't been able to have a solution, may you visit her right now and give to her, Lord, this understanding and this faith that through you, her life, my Lord, can change. That through you, the extraordinary can happen and will happen, Lord. That your justice will be done. Because your will, Lord, it isn't for this person to suffer. You haven't created this person so that she can carry this burden, this pain within her. No, that is unacceptable. So, Lord, I place myself right now in the situation of this person. And I intercede in her behalf. And I pray, my Lord, in behalf of this person. May your power right now strengthen her to stand strong so that she can step, my Lord, towards your court, to enter, my Lord, towards you. And by faith, she will be able to overcome this long-lasting problem that has been within years. We believe, we determine, and we surrender into your mighty and blessed hands. Lord, may you work your way and give her the strength that she needs. In Jesus' name, in agreement of a prayer. Amen. God is with you. No matter what they said, there is a solution to what you're facing, to what you're going through. The journey of faith starts today. Stay connected with us from Monday to Friday at 11 p.m. Make sure that you're going to prepare yourself to watch and to be part, to participate of this prayer of agreement. And with each journey of faith, with each teaching, with each testimony, you're going to understand God's justice within your life. Because if we could explain here right now in a summarized version, Pastor, is that God's justice is the will of God in her life. And think and analyze. Let's rationalize together. Do you think that is God's will for you to suffer? You, his creation. Do you think that God paid the highest price, as we mentioned recently on Sunday? He paid the highest price for our soul so that we could suffer. No. God has a plan.
Yeah.
It's
That's why, more than you desire, it is the will of God to bring justice into your life. But for him to bring justice, because he's righteous, he's also just. So for you to receive his justice in your life, you gotta act. God will not bring justice upon your life, for granted, because he saw you suffering a lot and he, felt compassionate on you. Yes, God is merciful, but he still, he act by faith and through faith. We gotta act our faith in order to see the justice of God in our life.
Because faith doesn't await, faith acts. That's what you need to understand. It needs to have action, it needs to have movement. You need to go towards Him to bring your case to God. And that is exactly what we are doing here within this journey of faith. We are calling all of those that are suffering. We are calling all of those that are tired, all of those that have reached the limits of their human strength. Because when you reach your limits, then the power of God comes in. That's what you need to understand. That's why this mother was so decided to seek God, because she knew that at that point, at that moment, the medicine couldn't do anything for her. They couldn't. They could bring comfort to her, maybe,
Mm.
but she didn't want comfort. She wanted a solution. And that's exactly what we want you to have within your life. So, this journey of faith, the holy campaign of justice, it has a higher purpose. It is to bring the divine intervention of God into your life, into the life of you, my friend, that is watching us right now. And of course, the altar of our UCKG Macau will be available for you. We are open from Monday to Monday. And on Tuesday, tomorrow, Pastor, you're going to be with them, right?
Yes.
In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Mention to them the time and the prayers that will be done in this day.
We are going to be together at 11 a.m., 4 p.m., but mainly at 10 p.m. We are going to be, calling upon God's name and to see His power be manifest in our life on behalf of those who need a healing. Perhaps you are going through a health situation, or maybe it's not you, or you have a family member of yours that it is in need of a healing power, a miracle. So tomorrow, Tuesday, we have the whole day. The church is open. You are welcome to come and join us.
Exactly. Because we are open every single day and we are preparing ourselves also for the Sunday of the impossible. That's going to be an extraordinary prayer that we're going to have. But you cannot wait until Sunday. You need to take action, as we said. So, Tuesday, tomorrow, mainly at 10 p.m., Pastor Roni will be with you. And together, you will manifest your faith and start to walk towards this important moment that is to enter the courtroom of God, the righteous judge, the mighty judge, the one that can bring a solution to your case. Okay? So from Monday to Friday, we're going to be here together in this journey of faith. So be sure to stay tuned because tomorrow we'll be back at the same time in the same faith and giving continuity to this testimony. So make sure to schedule on your phone to not forget to save the date and the time because the conclusion of this testimony will be very powerful and you don't want to miss it. May God bless. Take care and remain in faith.